Hello guys, welcome to the Sports Doyen. My name is Anurag and today with me I have Kushagra Dikshit and Pratmesh Palsiga. So we will be discussing the remaining round of 16 fixtures of the Champions League. We have Barcelona and Napoli playing a cracker of a game. The first leg ended one goal apiece in at Naples, and the other game between Juventus and Lyon. Lyon registered a stunning 1-0 win. Juventus had 14 shots on target, 14 shots, but none on target. So that was something very interesting over there. Uh, the other one being Manchester City against Real Madrid. We all know what happened there. Sergio Ramos was red carded, and Manchester City registered a stunning 2-1 win. And of course, the Bayern Munich and the Chelsea game, which finished 3-0 in favor of Bayern Munich, who carry 3-goal lead going into their home. So that is pretty much dead. But we have plenty to talk about. And firstly, we'll welcome Kushagra. Hello, Kushagra. So we've been talking a little bit about the Barcelona game just now and the current predicament of Barcelona. So what do you have to say about that?
Hi Anurag, and big hello to Pratmesh, and a very warm welcome to all of our viewers. We really appreciate their support. And as far as Barcelona versus Napoli is concerned, Barcelona are in a very tricky position, as a lot of our viewers might know already that they're facing a lot of squad shortages in the sense they have a few players who are injured and there are few players who've just come back from injury. Plus, they have players like Busquets who's suspended, who's been a vital player for them as one can expect. He's been extremely vital as the defense, especially the centre backs at Barcelona, haven't been trusted as much. So he often, if you see the way they play, he often drops back. Is a very important shield. And with the contractual suicide that Barcelona have committed in pushing Arthur Melo out and getting Miralem Pjanic from Juventus, that has caused massive disharmony amongst a couple of players in the squad, especially of course with Arthur, who's now just left Barcelona and flown off to Brazil and he refuses to come back. We've all read reports of the Barcelona president criticizing him, calling him selfish, which is a little bit of sitting on a high horse when you actually sold him just to balance your book, just to show a 10 million profit, which didn't really exist in reality. It was all on paper. So, that's a different video altogether, on the problems of Barcelona. So, as far as Barcelona is concerned, they don't come in the best of positions, but, they still have that one man. And as long as Messi plays for Barcelona, anything can happen. You cannot count them out. Another relative advantage is that they are slated to play this match in Barcelona, though about a week back in Catalonian region, you had a massive spike of COVID cases. So, there was a doubt in this match. But all in all, I feel still Barcelona will end up slightly edging it against Napoli. I think Prathamesh would be able to tell us a little more about Napoli as well. But from what I've seen in Serie A, Napoli finished with mediocre form. In their last 7 games, they won 3, lost 2, drew 2. So it was pretty mid-table and they finished 7th. And they've already won a cup this season. So I think that might help.
Yeah.
Barcelona for me though.
Yeah, Prathamesh. So what do you have to say about the game?
I'm going Napoli. So I think it's going to be a difficult game for Barcelona considering the squad morale also right now. They are in shatters right now. There is nothing wrong. There is nothing that is hidden about that. Kike Setien has been always on the fringe of getting sacked by Barcelona, and there are already replacements being named after him. And when he's a man on the job, it is a very difficult task to get through. Also, the likes of Mertens are in really good form for Napoli, so I think that will be a huge positive for them. Barcelona's defense isn't doing really well, and as Kushagra very well said, Busquets isn't there to bail them out. So, considering the likes of Insigne and Mertens will be going on, it will be a difficult one for Barca. Napoli did, I think Mertens put a brilliant goal in the first leg. It was a fantastic shot from coming in from the left and just curling into the top right corner. But they did face a little defensive issues as well. The Griezmann goal was quite an example of that. But overall, I think it should be a game where it might be cagey in the first half. We might not see real intent from any side from the first half to try and go all in for it. But in the second half, we might see a little bit more end-to-end stuff because, as you know, now the Champions League is almost like a knockoff tournament. So every team will fancy themselves to win this Champions League now. And if Barcelona or Napoli want to stand a chance of doing that, they will have to get through this leg with a little bit more caution, as well as make sure none of their players get injured. So I personally feel it will be a cautious first half, but a better second half, a real more end-to-end last phase of the game. But Napoli might edge it probably because they are more efficient. They have won a trophy at the Coppa Italia, so they are slightly on a high right now. And I doubt whether Gattuso is going to be easy on them either. So Napoli for me.
Yeah, true, true. And an empty Camp Nou is not going to help the Barcelona side as well. So that
Exactly.
is all about the Barcelona Napoli game. So next up we have Juventus Leon. That was a very bizarre game, to be honest. Juventus had plenty of possession. They had all the ball. Dybala and Cristiano Ronaldo tried to do a lot of stuff, but nothing worked out for them. Eventually, they had 14 shots, as I already said. They had none on target. Uh, Prathamesh, we watched the game. So do you think Leon will just sit back and try to protect their lead, and will they be able to do that in the first
That would be suicidal if they try
place?
to go. If they do that against Cristiano Ronaldo, Paulo Dybala, it's not going to work out. I think Juventus had a bad day, but there is nothing to say about that. 14 shots, none on target. It's usually a very bad day, but Juventus will not have bad day every time. Especially when you look at Cristiano Ronaldo and what he does in the Champions League. He's just an absolute beast. He's always up for it, especially in the second leg. And considering that he was dropped from that final league match wherein he couldn't get that golden boot because of it, he'll have that slight bit more personal motivation as well to score a few goals. I think Leon defended well in the first leg, whatever they could. I think the likes of Trossard will be a really important player for them because again, like, he's one of the most key players in that Leon setup right now. And I think Memphis is going to be another crucial player for them. So I think realistically, I would say Juventus because I don't think Lyon can keep a clean sheet in this leg, especially now that it's at the Allianz Stadium. So I really doubt that. Juventus have been good at home, but if Lyon can get an away goal, then they really have a chance.
Yeah, true. I think again it'll be a similar pattern where Leon will have I mean Juventus will have all the ball and Leon will have to play on the counter. So that's where I think Memphis will come into picture a lot. So Kushagra, Cristiano Ronaldo was brought to Juventus with a motive to win the Champions League. They failed to do so last time around. Uh, if there is a chance, there is still a chance. I mean, 1-0, it's not a huge lead, and maybe there is 1 or 2 years left in his contract in his time at Juventus. So if he doesn't end up winning Champions League, is this a failed transfer according to you?
I mean, the standards are so high, aren't they? I mean, we
Yeah,
call it a failed transfer because how many goals he scored? He won the Serie A goal,
true.
as he's mentioning, as Prathamesh mentions that he couldn't get the Golden Boot this year. I'm pretty sure he won the Golden Boot last year, and he scored in excess of 30 goals in the league last year. He scored in excess of 30 goals in the league this year. That's over 60 league goals in 2 years, and I'm not even counting the cup and the Champions League goals. So I won't call it an unsuccessful transfer. He's won 2 league titles in that such an unsuccessful crappy period. And I agree. A lot of people say Serie A is a walkover. This was the worst defense of their title that Juventus have had in 9 years. So
And the season
there
was
are
very close.
yeah,
Yeah, they won by 1 point.
I mean, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of a false image because Juventus ended up losing
Yeah,
the last
Yeah,
2 matches. 3 of the last 4 matches they lost, and I was just going through the results. The last match was losing at home to Roma, which just didn't make sense, right? So because they just gifted them points, and it was clear that Sarri rested all his players. So as far as Ronaldo you're talking about, I feel Ronaldo can still go. I think lockdown has done Ronaldo a lot of good. He doesn't, I am, of course, I'll be called biased because I'm a United fan. So, but Ronaldo often doesn't get the credit for the kind of play that he plays. And I'm sorry, the kind of play he displays. Sorry. So, in the sense that he has changed his play once again, once he's come to Juventus. he tries to drop deep and he tries to conduct play. Of course, he's not Messi, right? He's not that passer. So he needs, for most of the chances, he needs to be creating the third pass from the assist or the second pass from the assist. So he needs to feed the ball and get into the box, because that's his role. That's what he was bought for. Juventus are a dysfunctional club. So I mean, a lot of big clubs are dysfunctional. Barcelona is dysfunctional, but Juventus too are dysfunctional at this point, because their squad is so old and their squad is so stacked, and with similar level of players, they don't have. If you take out a Dybala, they really would struggle. I'd put Napoli. I'm sorry, I'd almost put Lyon as favorites if Dybala was injured. Because that is the level of dependency Juventus have on Dybala right now. They were horrible towards the end of Serie A. Horrible. And, if we talk about Setien being under pressure, Sarri is under pressure. Sarri is under immense pressure. I know he's won the league, but he's under pressure because if they're not, God forbid, if they're not able to overturn this Lyon deficit, I think he might do his job. Because, Conte's already started fighting with Inter. And you have Pochettino, who's available. It's not necessary that he needs to go to Barca. There could be other people. So they've always dreamt of Juventus. Juventus fans have always dreamt of Zidane in a club. So there are possibilities. So I feel, even though Juventus on reputation should go ahead, but it'll be a very difficult game for them. I think this is way more tough to call than the Barcelona Napoli game. Because Napoli, for me, just keep failing to deceive. They keep knocking the door, but they never get in. Knocking on the door, but they never get in. So, this sort of bottlers
there's plenty online for both Cristiano Ronaldo. There's plenty online for Sarri. There's plenty online for Juventus. And coming to the game that I think all of us will be watching, I think even if you have two screens, our primary screen will be this one: Real Madrid, Manchester City, at the Etihad Stadium. What a fabulous game the first leg was. The first half of the first leg was pretty dull, but I think it was action-packed in the second one. I mean, the football was still, you could question it, but there was plenty happening. No one really expected Manchester City to come back and score those two goals. And not to forget, Gabriel towards the end, Gabriel Jesus, he made a great run. He was one-on-one, and Sergio Ramos went for the tackle. He fell. I think he fell a bit too easily, and Sergio Ramos was red carded, due to which he's going to miss this game. So that's a huge letdown for Real Madrid. So first, to you, Prathamesh, what do you make of this game? I think this one is going to be an absolute cracker.
I think this is probably the best possible fixture in the Champions League round. Obviously, the first leg was a bitter disappointment, to be honest, in the first half, but the second half showed a lot of action. At the Etihad, City have a fantastic record. Only Manchester United have beaten them really well at Etihad recently. But I think otherwise, City have played well since the lockdown. They've smashed Liverpool at Etihad. They have gone and scored goals everywhere. They've gone and played. They've been consistent with what they are doing. It seems as if the lockdown has rejuvenated Pep's plans, because especially considering the fact that their Champions League ban was lifted, that's given them a huge morale boost now. They're signing players as well. They signed Ferran Torres recently. But I think on the pitch, the likes of Phil Foden, Kevin De Bruyne, Gabriel Jesus have showed their class recently. Raheem Sterling has been doing it day in, day out almost now. So offensively, City are going to have a lot of fun, because Sergio Ramos is a leader of that back four. No matter, sometimes he makes mistakes and makes these kind of terrible decisions that lead to a red card. There's no doubting his defensive ability. So I think he's going to be a huge miss. But I think they have Thibaut Courtois, who is performing really well for Madrid this season. And I think they will hope that he comes to the rescue at the Etihad. They also have a lead Man City. So I really doubt whether Madrid will be able to overturn it. I think if it becomes a goal feast, which it shouldn't ideally, because I don't think Zidane or Pep Guardiola would want that, because if it becomes a goal feast, it could become like the Tottenham Man City game last season, where anybody could make it at the end. I don't think any manager wants that. So if it becomes that kind of a scenario, I think City will definitely win that, because they are in a way better situation in terms of goal scoring. They're consistent, and obviously they have that two away goals in the first leg, so that really matters big time. Real Madrid have been playing really well this season. They obviously won the La Liga title. Bale is out for them. He's been axed off the squad. Finally, there is some movement on that sense. But otherwise, they've played some really good football. I think the likes of Vinicius have been brilliant all season. Behind him, even the midfield has functioned really well. And I think it will be a real big test now to see who steps up in the absence of Sergio Ramos. I think if that one position is sorted for them, they might have a chance. But for me, City are favourites not just to win this tie, but to win the Champions League, considering the way they're going right now. So it will be very difficult to stop them from scoring. So it has to be a blinder of a performance from Real Madrid.
Yeah, true. I mean, feeding a little bit of Prathamesh's views. Uh, the last few times where Manchester City lost by a two-goal margin or a similar margin, uh, the opposition team defended really well. Let that be Manchester United winning 2-0 at the Old Trafford or Liverpool winning 3-0 uh, at the Anfield. They defended really well, and City are one. They'll end up having possession. They'll end up having most of the possession. That is something you can't take away from a Pep Guardiola team. So, do you think Real Madrid will end up again concentrating strictly on the defense, because that seems the only way to stop them from scoring first, and that is where you lay a platform, and then you can think of scoring yourself as well. What do you make of it, Kushak?
Zidane would be so wishing that Ronaldo bust up with Perez never happened, because these were the games during that his marvelous 3 Champions League runs that Real Madrid, sort of specialized in. Games where they had to soak the pressure up, hit teams on the counter, create those 2-3 chances that would be the defining chances, and they had a key guy who more often than not put them away. Now they don't. And as Prathamesh said, Man City, a few points in this season when they lost, actually post-lockdown I'm talking about, it was because they really did not have much to play for, apart from that one game against Arsenal. And if Arsenal can do that, I don't see a reason why Real Madrid can believe that they can't do that. If Arsenal could do that on Wembley, I know it was at Wembley, it wasn't at the Etihad, but it rarely makes a difference with no crowd, nothing. It's just a pitch.
Yeah.
So if there is a lot that Zidane would do well to study from what Arteta did, and Arteta didn't completely sit back. So I don't expect Real Madrid to sit back. They're 2-1 down. They are down in the tie, and because they are down in the tie, they have to go and score, and they can't just nick one and sit because they'll still be behind on aggregate on away goals. So they need to go for 2 goals and not concede one. Now that's a very difficult task at the City Stadium, so at the Etihad Stadium. So I, logically thinking, I do not see Real. I think Real Madrid will be able to score, but I don't think they'll be able to keep City out, and that is one of the reasons why City will go through. But in the past, when Zinedine Zidane has made his name, he's made his name winning fixtures like these. If you guys remember that, not the second semi-final, the match against Juventus when they lost and yet won with a penalty in extra time.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Also that second leg against Bayern Munich, when they were down,
what a game.
and when they should have had players sent off and they did not have players sent off, and they still managed to win. And like 2 offside goals that went in, I know there was a lot of hue and cry about it. So I know all of that won't happen because of VAR right now, but things have gone for them in the past, and it is Real Madrid. I won't say this is their competition, but they have the biggest claim to it, and so you can't completely rule them out. But again, I'll have to stick with house money here. I would not play my chips anywhere else. I think City will win, and I agree. I think Guardiola would want to win the Champions League because he did not win the league. And once again, it's just a 3-match tournament, and anything can happen. Of course, for Real Madrid and City, it's a 4-match tournament because of the second leg. But it's just a knockout. Anything. This is the easiest. In a sense, this is the toughest and easiest route to win a Champions League, because there is no margin of error, but also you don't need to be at your best. Just need to nick game.
Yeah, that's true.
Welcome to the
And as
European FA
Kushagra
Cup.
very rightly, as Kushagra rightly mentioned, with VAR we'll not have the kind of controversies that we've had before, but we'll have fresh sort of controversies because VAR has
Yeah.
not solved any sort of problems as yet. Let's see what VAR has to offer. That is one thing all of them, everyone will be keeping an eye on as well. So
That is the real match where we can actually watch that is the one which is going to be without any caginess, without any tactical insight into it. It's going to be pure raw nonsense that is going to happen there. So that's going to be some fun.
yeah, VAR last season, not to forget, VAR broke the hearts of Manchester City right towards the end.
Yeah.
That was very heartbreaking for them. I mean, yeah, that was a bad game for them. So coming to the last game that we're going to discuss, I think this is a pretty dead one, especially in the form that Bayern Munich are in. Especially a fact that they have a chance of getting a treble. I think a second treble in 6 years. That's going to be a massive achievement. And they've had a magnificent season. Robert Lewandowski has been scoring for fun. Serge Gnabry has been doing so well. Joshua Kimmich has been a revelation this season in a different position. Everything is just going right for them. Kushagra, do you see any chance of Chelsea actually making something happen in this game?
No, I don't know how I can elaborate on that. I just would like to say no. I just like to read you out the Chelsea injury list and injury suspension and left list. Willian will not play, of course. Pedro is out
Yep.
and he's left. He's leaving the club.
Azpilicueta.
Pulisic is out. Pulisic is out. Azpilicueta is out.
Yeah.
There is another player, if I'm not wrong. There is another centre half who
Gilmore
was
is
out.
out.
Sorry.
Gilmore
No,
is out.
Gilmore is out. Gilmore is out. Yeah.
Oh, Gilmore, of course, Gilmore is out, and there is another centre.
Marcus Alonso has been red carded, so yeah.
Marcus Alonso suspended, and Christensen had an injury doubt. So I don't even know if they have a squad to play. And of course, even if they did, I don't think Lampard would honestly care about it. You want a good performance, you want the team to play for pride, but there is nothing in this match.
Absolutely.
Again, the team to challenge City, according to me, would be Bayern.
True. Yeah,
It's between
Prathamesh,
them.
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think there is very little to talk about this game. I know there will be plenty of fans who will be optimistic, and you can't really blame any of them. But still, this is pretty much a dead game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a dead game, and I would have worn a Bayern jersey if I had one. So I'm wearing something that is close to that. It is Germany. So I think Bayern should be favorites to win the Champions League along with Man City. Lewandowski is said scoring goals for fun. Gnabry is having fun. Thomas Muller is scoring. We almost scored a back header at Stamford Bridge. I think even the likes of Tolisso are playing well. They're doing well in all departments. I mean, how do you stop Alphonso Davies from going forward? I mean, without Azpilicueta as well. So I think Chelsea are doomed basically. They're going to Munich. They're going to have a German beer probably after the game and come back, because I don't think they stand any chance on the pitch. And with the amount of injuries which they have right now, it is going to be huge. It will be a huge success for Frank Lampard if Chelsea are able to somehow even let Bayern
Get a
win
spirited
like by
performance
a
out of this.
single goal margin. Yeah, they
Yeah,
need a spirited performance, and because Lampard will be frustrated, they did not win the FA Cup final. They
FA Cup,
finished
yeah.
fourth in the league, so I think there is a lot of frustration around that as well. So, but no, I think Bayern are a different, well-oiled machine right now. I think Hansi Flick just has tweaked a few things that were supposed to be tweaked. I think under previous management, they played well in the Champions League. They beat Tottenham 7-2 at the new
Yep.
stadium.
Wembley, yes.
But I think there are a lot of things that weren't going their way in the league, as well as there were some certain tactical issues which I think is tweaked really well. The form of Leon Goretzka has been massive for them post-lockdown because he has scored some really important goals, and I think Flick has used him really in the right way, and also has come out from that lockdown a little stronger. He's doing the right things now. He's playing proper box-to-box midfield. His passing is really accurate now. And Kimmich, I mean, what do you say about the man? Probably the best in his position in the world right now. So and stopping Lewandowski from scoring goals is absolutely impossible for any defense right now. Probably he's also robbed of a Ballon d'Or, but it's a different story altogether. So I don't know, man. I probably see a 3-0 or a 4-0 Bayern win again, and then they travel to Portugal. to play the rest of the tournament, and I think they should be favorites. A Bayern Man City final is a huge expectation, but whether the draw works out that way is a different story altogether. But if that game ever happens, trust me, we're going to see the best of football.
True. True. I mean, there is plenty at stake for so many clubs, as we've already talked about. There's Juventus, who are trailing right now. There's Barcelona, who've not won a trophy this season, and the fans are absolutely livid with whatever is happening around the club. And the likes of Manchester City, who've never won a Champions League, they are so keen. This is perhaps, as Kushagra mentioned, the best chance for all of these teams. And talking about the other quarterfinalists, Atalanta have made it to the quarterfinals. They had a goal fest against in their game against Valencia. Atletico Madrid have made it quite comfortably. They've defeated the defending champions, a big blow that they've provided. So even they could be in for a title. We'll be talking about that more elaborately in another video. The other two, who are the other two? I've missed another couple.
The other two will be your Paris Saint-Germain.
Leipzig, Paris Saint-Germain.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
so,
Yep.
yeah.
So yeah, that is for an entirely different video. For now, this is what we have to say about the round of 16 remaining games. Thank you so much for tuning into this the Sports Doyen. I hope all of you will keep supporting our channel and help us grow. Thank you so much.